Okay, is everybody ready? Is everybody sitting comfortably? Do you have your teas and your coffees? Does that look good? Okay, we're fine. This came with the course. I'm going to show you this in a second. I'm going to tell you all about the course, my opinions on it, and what it actually involves. All right, let's go. Oh, amazing. Right, so get my breath. My crime, if you like, was doing 57 in a 50. Now, I'll give you a quick background on what my driving offensive has been in the past to give you an idea of what you might expect if you do a similar thing. So the last driving offence I got was probably about 20 years ago when I was coming back from the Isle of Man on a Hayabusa. I won't tell you what speed I was doing then. But anyway, so that's my last. So I've got a pretty clean license, actually. It's pretty good. And at the moment, I've got no points in it. I haven't had any points for years and years and years. So, like I said, I was caught doing 57 in a 50. The first thing you will get is a letter in the post of intended prosecution. It's a very formal letter. And it says what speed you was doing, what speed the actual area that you're doing it in is. So they say you're doing 57 in a 50 mile an hour zone. They tell you what the fine is. They tell you the amount of time you have to pay it, and they have a little picture of you on there doing the actual offence. But now, these days, as opposed to 20 odd years ago, they give you a choice of going on a speed awareness course, which I think is a good thing, especially if you've got a lot of points on your licence. I didn't want points on my licence because obviously that affects your insurance. So I opted for the speed awareness course. You go online, you book it, and there's lots of different places that are local to you, and they're in like sort of conference halls and hotels and all that sort of stuff. So my one was I'm in Dartford, and my one was in Bexley, which is, I don't know, 3 miles down the road, super quick to get to, very convenient. My course started at 8 a.m. and it finished at 10:30, which I think was quite long. But anyway, I got there and there was 20 people in total, four tables, five people to each table. You have a little nameplate. There's no designated areas. You sit where you want. You write your name on the nameplate, and that's your spot. They give you this pamphlet, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then there's 2 hosts of the course, and they're both pretty good. And the first thing that they tell you, the very first thing they say when you come into the room is, by the way, we're not affiliated with the police or associated with the police in any way, shape or form, which I think is a way of, just kind of like, look, don't hate us. It's not our fault you're here. We're just doing the course, that sort of thing. Because there was a lot of guys there. I noticed. I'm looking around, and they've all got their puffy chests out and their arms are fucked. The body language was quite something else. But anyway, the course begins. And one of the first things they do is they ask you, or they show you a series of pictures of different types of roads. So you've got an B road, an A road, motorways, all that sort of stuff. And they ask you, and I'm going to read it from this thing here. And they say, what do you think the speed limit is on this road? And what do you think the speed limit should be? Now, most of us got it right. And the interesting thing is, when it came to the motorway, everybody said 70 for this particular stretch of motorway. But everybody thought it should be 80, which I think is true, because when that speed limit came in, the technology in the cars and the bikes was just like, in regards to braking systems, ABS, all that sort of stuff, it didn't exist, basically. It's a lot better now. The cars and the bikes are a lot safer, so I think the speed limit should be brought up on the motorways. Regardless, it is what it is. It is 70. So you go through that and you just tick it off. Now that's the thing. There's no right or wrong in this test. There's no exam. There's no pass or fail at the end of it. It's just a series of questions, and you just put down your answers. And there's other things like how do you tell if you're on a road and there's no signs? How can you tell what the speed limit is if there's nothing telling you what it is? So what they say is if there's a street light, if there's no signs telling you what the speed is, but there's street lights, it's a 30 mile an hour zone. If there's no lights and no signs, the national limit applies. And it also asks you, tells you the difference between a single carriageway and a dual carriageway. So it's the border going between the middle of the lanes, and just things like that. So on it goes, and there's different things like your consequences of speeding, how it affects not only certainly if you hit someone, how it affects that person, how it affects their family, how it affects your relationship to your family, trust issues, your how it affects your employment. You know, it could affect that. So one of the things that I thought was actually quite eye-opening was they showed a video of a car going from what was it now, 30 miles an hour. It sets off, gets to 30 miles an hour, and it hits the brake at a designated spot, and they measure how long it takes to stop from 30 to 0. And then they say to the guy, right, now do 31 miles an hour, and I want you to brake in that exact same spot. And what they did is they put this mannequin of this child at the spot where the car stopped doing 30. The car heads off, does 31 miles an hour, slams on the brake at the same spot, and it hits the mannequin, and the car is still going 8 miles an hour, and the mannequin just goes woof like that. It's mad. The difference between 1 mile an hour and the amount of braking distance it takes for you to stop, the difference is unbelievable. That was a real eye opener. I got educated on that particular segment, and it's all about things like, you know, how much time you save by speeding when you have to take into account things like traffic lights and traffic jams, which is true because when I do the commute into work, there's bikes that are tearing past me, mopeds, you know, guys on sports bikes, they're flying past me. But 9 times out of 10, I always meet them at the traffic lights. So there's kind of no point. You may as well just save a bit of petrol and just take it easy, and also not break the law at the same time. So I did learn some things. I thought there's elements of it that are quite educational. Like I say, there's no test involved. It's just purely telling you, you know, the consequences of your actions, that sort of thing. It's quite enjoyable, and I recommend you do it. But I just want to work something out. So hold on a sec. So I just want to work out the amount of money that these courses actually generate. So I've got my calculator here. So there was 20 people to a class. Each one paid £95 each. So per class generates £1,900. Times that by 3 classes per day, and per day you're earning £5,700. Times that by 5 working days per week, Monday to Friday. Bloody hell. Just this one class is generating £28,500 per week. That's just one class. Never mind the, you know, nationwide. That is unbelievable. I'm in the wrong job. That's crazy. Obviously that doesn't take into effect the rent of the room in the hotel, and obviously those guys need paying as well, but still £28,000 a week. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I mean, Jesus Christ. All right, that said, it is better than getting points on your license, because the long-term cost of that we all know about. And I did learn a few things, and the hosts were okay. They were pretty cool. So, yeah, so all in all, I recommend going on it. What was I going to say? Yes, if you... So now that I've done the course, if I speed again within a three-year time limit, I won't have the option of going on a course again. I just get points automatically. If I speed again after a 3-year period from taking this course, I can take the course again. So there you go. Guys, that's it. Hope you like that, and I'll see you soon. Take care. £28,000 a week. Oh my God. That is shocking.